So good to be back at K4Wins.com. We're on every single Tuesday and Friday morning, 10 o'clock Central Time. And of course, we finally have something to talk about. We love Major League Baseball. We've done really well, hitting 67, 68% last year and a half. But man, it is time to talk some college football. The first big night of Game 17 in the books last night. And there's some testosterone going on before we started the show. We were throwing UAB shit at each other. We were throwing MAC crap at each other. We were throwing tennis. It was all flying. Everyone will have a chance to share. Everyone will talk about what's going on. First of all, how did we do last night in our opening night of college football, Kai Gregory?
Just broke it even last night. We had some bad losses, like with Rutgers. That was kind of sad. And then Wisconsin, technically speaking, even though we said 17, the line was 17 and a half, 18. So you got to be honest and take a loss there. We had South Florida, but some good wins as well. 22-9 last week, 71-36 last month, 7-24, 3, 73-9, so 65.9% year to date. Ready to absolutely destroy it today and this weekend.
We got a lot of line movements we'll get into right at the top. He is Case Kiefer. He is Executive Director, Chief Editor of the Las Vegas Sun. Kip Kiefer right below me, of course. He is the Howard Stern of radio and television and internet. He's all over the place doing a fantastic job. And, of course, Executive Director of the Birmingham Racecourse and Casino. And Kai Gregory, you just heard from, is extraordinary when it comes to handicapping for the last 30, 35 years. Does a bang-up job. Has been on both sides. I will say this, and we talk a lot of games here. One thing that we do not do, and we probably need to do a better job of this, we can certainly do that. We can post our plays through the game. We want you to listen to the show because we give you a lot of insight on everything we do. And rarely do we say, okay, here are our plays for this week. But if you go to K4Wins.com, it's all in a nice little tidy little situation for you. But we want to make sure we're all on the same side. So I will say this last night because I want to be accountable for where I'm going. I go 3-1 last night. Despite that, it looks like we broke even. UAB, my big loser tonight, and that's only because I talked to Coach the night before, and he's like, if I can run up the score, I know he's desperate. I know he's hurting. When they're down 28-17, you could see his life flash before his eyes. Somehow, they actually had a chance to get the cover last night, giving up 20 and a half points. They're up by 14 late in that game. But I did have the over personally, but did not have her. They gave up 514 yards to an FCS squad. This was a team. And I'm only saying this because I know a lot about UAB, and I play UAB a lot on both sides. I was 7-2 against them last year, but they gave up 514 yards to a brand new, revamped. Everyone on the defensive side of the ball was fired last year, and it was supposed to be the saving grace. Thank God they've got, some quarterback play, and they put up 520 yards of their own. Also had, of course, the Akron game under last night. Felt good about that. 10-zip was the final score. We had Rutgers. I know we had the side on that, but I said the over. And, of course, you mentioned South Florida, which if you've been listening to the show, Kai's been on all year long on that game. That was that weird 5.5, 6-point game against a team a lot of people think perhaps could go to the playoffs. Kai, let's start right there. You had Boise State going to the playoffs as one of your 4 teams, and then you're betting against them. Tell me why and how did it work?
Well, when we did that show, I looked at it. I still liked a lot of the things about Boise. I got more and more in depth looking at Alec Golish's squad. And I think, they may lose their next 2 games, but I still think they have a chance to make the playoffs winning there. I like everything in the matchup, and the line movement just it made no it made no sense to stay on Boise. And of course, I hate betting with the public, but as that line moved more and more towards South Florida, just to me, everything led that way. And tell me you miss Ashton Genty without telling me you miss Ashton Genty. They put up 7 points and didn't score the last 3 quarters. I think they said for like the first time since 2007 or something like that. I saw on ESPN, but there are so many huge line moves from 3 weeks ago when we started talking to these till today. Yep. It is unbelievable.
Yeah, including the Texas-Ohio State game. There's a huge line move. There's a big line move on the Auburn game. We'll get to the Alabama game because a lot of people here locally. Your Syracuse-Tennessee game, which will be coming on right after we do our show on ABC 33.4, the starting lineup here locally tomorrow morning. That's moved a little bit too, so we'll talk about all those games. And, of course, we will have plays. I want each and one of you to take 3 or 4 really good plays, your top plays. We'll have a segment during each show because several people have emailed me, info@tonykurreradio.net, and say, listen, I love your show. I don't have time to listen to the entire hour, but I love to hear your picks, and I don't have time to standpoint, blah, 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 blah. So please at some point to say, here are my plays. We will do that throughout each show. Case, first of all, how did you do on your first night last night? Get ready for week one. It is a smorgasbord of love and betting for you tomorrow, but how'd you do last night?
I didn't do great, to be honest. It wasn't terrible by any means, but always when it's the very beginning and you lose, it doesn't feel good. Some of my bigger plays just went down in flames late, so a little disappointing, but ready to get back on it. And yeah, we'll see what the weekend brings.
And we're real here, man. I mean, you're not going to win every single weekend. We just want to be consistent. We want to be consistent.
Why not?
With the four of us, if you played us, you're consistently winning every single week. I don't even know if we had a losing week since we started. Kip, how did you do on some of your plays, and are you ready for tomorrow?
I didn't have a lot of opinions last night. I listened intently. Kai was strong on South Florida. Case said last week he was selling on Boise pretty much. So that's probably the game I paid the most attention to, and to see the Bulls just destroy them. That's not an easy place to go play. Ask Alabama a couple of years ago. But, that was an interesting. I was interested to watch Nebraska, and I had some thoughts on that game watching it. It was in Kansas City, which was supposed to be Cincinnati was the home team, but they sold. You're not real serious about your program when you sell out to the backyard of the team you're playing and surrender your home game. So that game was at Arrowhead. Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce were there for what reason? I have no freaking idea. You think they'd have something? Huh?
Because he went to Cincinnati.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, thank you for.
He's a Bearcat. He's a Bearcat. He's one of the good things that came out of Cincinnati. Yeah.
I had completely struck out on making that association. So thank you guys for setting me straight, because they kept showing them. I'm going, what the hell are they doing there? I forgot all about Kelsey's association with the Bearcats. Anyway, I watched the faces of Nebraska fans, the once mighty Husker Empire, and you can see they're still adamant fans. Arrowhead was about 90%. Of course, Nebraska last night, and they were roaring early in the game. And Dylan Raiola, the great deliver. Mahomes was there because he's kind of a mentor too. So a lot of presence. But I got the foreboding feeling there watching that game. Nebraska's never going to be back, guys. I mean, this team has
not this year.
I don't think any year. This has been, it's the same theme every year. Is this Nebraska's return to glory?
They still have the facilities, man, and you still have Cornhuskers out there. I mean, you still got guys that are living back in the 80s and their daddy played at Nebraska. I mean, some way they're going to win 10 games again somewhere. I don't know when it's going to be, but
I just think they've entered the. I wish I could share your optimism, because these people are still just adamant fans, and it was one of the great college football empires. I just get the feeling they have wandered into the forest of mediocrity, and they're never going to escape.
You may have something there. A couple of late line movements, Case. I want to start right there, and we'll do this every single week because a couple of things have changed. Did I see that Ohio State now is just -0.5 against Texas? I saw 3.5, and then it dipped down, and all I'm seeing is 0.5, and I'm like, wow, that's kind of strange. Is that much money coming on Ohio State right now?
Yeah, no, that much money on Texas this morning here in Vegas. Mostly pick 'em now. Even some pick 'em -105 with Texas at -115. Pretty shocking. I don't. Again, I always use the disclaimer. I do not use this to handicap. It means nothing to me. But I was very interested. Probably the second biggest national sports book sent out their liability report this morning and said right now Texas or Ohio State. Texas, excuse me, their biggest liability they've ever had in a week one game. They're just every single bet's coming in on Texas.
Wow.
Yeah, lose 3 points last night. I mean, that's crazy.
The arch hype, the hype about this team is in full effect. And it got down to pick very briefly here earlier in the week. I think I mentioned on the Tuesday show, and I didn't think we'd see it again. I took Ohio State basically just to have action on the biggest game of the day. I don't feel strongly about the game, but I thought there'd be some resistance at some point that some people would be interested in Ohio State. But it seems like, both the guys that are moving markets that are shaping these markets and betting a lot are on Texas, as is every single person that's just walking into the sports book to put down a $22 bet. It's just been a Texas avalanche so far. It'd be really interesting to watch in the next 24 hours if anyone shows up with Ohio State.
For a game that large, I mean, that's 1 versus 3 to see a line movement that big a day before. I've never seen it. I mean, I really haven't. It's been a long time.
And the home team is what surprises me because honestly, to me, that's the only thing that makes a big difference in this. To me, I think they're 2 of the 5 best teams in the nation, maybe 2 of the 4 if you really want to push that. And it just comes down to me, one team's getting to play at home, and we know, I mean, time and time again, guys making. I don't know if this actually is Arch's road start. He's probably made another road start somewhere, but young quarterbacks making road starts early in the season, that's usually a really tough situation to be in. Usually a spot where guys underachieve. So it was just really those things that pushed me towards Ohio State. And I mean, usually you see that the same way, though. Usually people do go towards the home team. But this Texas hype is in full effect, and I can't wait to see if it's all it's cracked up to be.
Want to get into this game because it's got a local feel. We are here in Birmingham, but we broadcast throughout the world right here, of course, on the Coastal Digital Sports Network, Tony Kurre Radio, and, of course, on our YouTube channel. Auburn, Baylor later on tonight. Auburn at Baylor, and that line was 2.5. Now it looks like it's Auburn 1.5. Over-unders moved up to 58.5. Kai, I know where your feeling is on this particular ball game. This could be a booger bear because for me, this is not just the opening of Hugh Freeze's 3rd season. This is a make or break for him, man. I mean, he needs to win this game just to get the Auburn fan base and those boosters back on his side.
You know, if you go back and you look maybe a month ago on the podcast, I was all over Baylor when it was 3. Said I bought it at 3.5. Already played that. I completely flip-flopped. I have hammered. There's a play. I hammered the Auburn money line minus 25.
You like Auburn?
Yeah, I think Auburn goes in and wins tonight, and I think they win easily, just point blank.
Make the case for that because I just don't see how you get.
Hey, but I said South Florida was going to win. They won. I'm just saying. I think they win easily, just like I.
Make a case, though. Make a case, please.
I know it's going to be something that we're going to talk about, but I also think Clemson is not going to have a sweat in the last 10 minutes of the game Saturday against LSU.
Well, we'll agree there, but tell me, I understand you go with guts, and I just have a feeling those usually lose when you just have feelings on bets. I just have a feeling this is going to happen. Tell me why you believe the Auburn Tigers, why you've done a total flip just from a couple months ago.
I'm buying into the talent level they have to their receivers, and I'm buying into the transfer quarterback who I think who beat Alabama by himself at Oklahoma. Also, I think it is a huge loss for Baylor, their number 2 running back, and I've talked about it all week and I'm going to talk about it tomorrow also. I think it's a huge loss for them. He was their 3rd down back and their short yardage back that they lost. I can't remember his name. He got hurt. He's out this game. I think Auburn goes in and wins the game tonight. You know, I'm going to be at the Hoover Spain Park game, so I'm not going to get to watch it. But I would be surprised, and I like Auburn in the first half as well. I think Auburn comes out and jumps on Baylor early.
What I think is scary here, Sawyer Robertson is a quarterback for Baylor. You're going to hear his name a lot this year because he averaged 38 attempts a game last year. He loves to sling the football, and he can run the football as well. I'm really concerned about Auburn's secondary, Kip. I have not heard anything. I haven't seen anything on their secondary, and he can pick some defenses apart. And I'm afraid if they get into kind of a shootout or something, it may put Arnold in a situation where he's not used to it.
Robertson, I saw him a little bit before. I don't know a lot about him, but I know there's a lot of hype there. Theoretically, he's the best player on the field in that game, and he's the quarterback for Baylor. I'm not a Hugh Freeze guy. I think I've been pretty clear on that. I think Hugh Freeze is a fraud. He left Ole Miss in shambles after he left there on all kinds of probation and different things. He acted abysmally from an integrity standpoint at Liberty. Liberty has not missed a beat since he left. And I remember I'm haunted by the last 2 seasons. There's been a lot of Auburn hype coming into the year of how good they're going to be and how they got it all turned around, and they have just fallen flat on their face. They won.
Can I say this? I've been doing SEC media days since 1992. Okay. And I cannot remember a year. And I was at the Winfrey last night. My son and I were riding elevators. We were just hanging out in the mall. I cannot. I said, man, I used to sit in these Holland hallways year after year after year, all these knuckleheads and Tony and the Zoo and all these weird morning shows. I cannot remember the last time the Auburn Tigers didn't think they were going to have a hell of a great season.
Oh, it's
I mean, Gus Malzahn was like, oh, the only thing we got missing here is a punter. And I'm thinking to myself, dude, shut up. I mean, I don't want to hear it. I mean, if you're going to go 11-2, that's great, but you don't need to be setting your standards so damn high because you've won a national title, man. Your fan base is thriving. You know you can do it. Now, Nick Saban's not across the street anymore, and now you're sitting there hoping you get the 6 wins. It's pathetic, Case. It really is.
Yeah, I can't speak to Auburn's situation like that. I'm not as clued in at the day-to-day as you guys. I'm on Auburn in this game. When it got down to pick 'em, I bet Auburn, but I think this game's going to be really close. I think it could go either way. I agree with Kip that I think if we were drafting players, mainly because it's quarterback, Robertson would be my first choice. But I think it kind of killed Baylor because everyone wanted Robertson. Supposedly, I've heard through the grapevine that all these schools are reaching out and they really had to pony up to keep him. And I think that really hindered how much they could improve the rest of their roster. You look at the skill players. I mean, Auburn has NFL guys and Baylor does not. And I do think there's something to Kai being said. I've heard they have multiple running back injuries, so their running back room's thin. The receivers are just Auburn's are night and day. So that's what concerns me in this game. I would not be surprised at all if Baylor won. I made a really big bet at Auburn pick actually when it got there, and I'm feeling kind of uncomfortable with it. Maybe I'll even play off a little bit if Auburn gets up. But I think it's going to be a close game. I just ever so slightly. The quality of players, Auburn to me makes me lean that way.
K4Wins.com, K4Wins.com on X at K4Winners, K4Winners.com. You can also email us, info@TonyCurryRadio.net. We're live on the YouTube channel. Of course, we're live on Coastal as well, the Digital Sports Network. Thanks to Angel's entire crew for having us up. We're on every Tuesday and Friday at 10 o'clock Central Time. I want to throw this game out. Maybe a lot of people aren't interested. I'm going to throw it out there because it's the game that comes up right against our television show here locally at ABC 3340. And that line now dropping to Tennessee minus 13.5. Kai, you're wearing the big orange tee. I know you have a massive bet on the under 8.5 win totals for this game. I'm assuming you're thinking they're going to win, but I know you like the other side on this. Does it change that it's come off 14? Are you still liking the Qs? Or you got to, obviously you're going to buy the half, but there's some late money coming on Syracuse right now.
Yeah, obviously if you get in that situation, but one of the cardinal rules of betting is never buy for a push. So, you're not supposed to do that. Now, I disagree. A push is better than a loss, so I'll buy the half a point for that.
Who says don't buy for a push? That's all I do.
For 30 years. But I just don't think Tennessee's defensive line specifically is going to hold up as well as they want. The secondary, McCoy's not playing. Who knows what Boo Carter's going to be doing? I like some of the things with Syracuse and some of the things they've done. I just think I really think they stay inside 10. I think Tennessee may have a closer game than LSU and Clemson. It's just the way I think it. The way I think it is. It is what it is. I don't see Tennessee winning by more than 14.
Speaking of a team, too, that needs to get out of the box, and I just have a feeling they got to get out pretty quick, and people are like, come on, man, it's Alabama. They're going to be fine. 14 and that hook at FSU. Case, Kip, I'll start with you, Case. What kind of season is FSU going to have, and are we going to tell anything by just their first showing here against Alabama coming up tomorrow?
Well, I know that I've heard that people were really shocked when Florida State's depth chart came out that a lot of the defensive guys that at least are listed as starters were not who they spent on big in the portal or not who they thought it would. I think we saw a little bit of reaction to that to get this on 14. I've been pretty adamant all summer that I make this game closer to 17. I think I'm super high on Alabama, so I think I was even like 17.5. And I kept thinking at some point we're going to see the Alabama money. I fired on Alabama pretty big, 12.5. Where does Florida State have the advantage in this game? I just feel like nowhere. So I know it's tough going to Tallahassee. It's week 1. I already talked about how usually home field advantage is worth more in week 1. So yeah, this could be a rally the wagons game where they show up and give Alabama a scare. But on paper, for me, it's tough to make a case for Florida State.
Kip, we're right here in the armpit of it, man. We're at ground zero. Of course, we have to endure Legend every single week. One of the biggest Alabama homers out there. He's all about it. And you can even tell that, the one thing about Legend is, I know he's a homer and I know he loves Alabama, but he does off air, he does speak about how concerned he is. Of course, he's the reason why he didn't call him Kalen more last year. He called him a different name throughout Coach Kalen throughout the entire season. We knew exactly what we say. He's calling him the wrong name. I was like, you dumbass. He's an Alabama fan. He knows what he's doing. But is there any reason why Legend should be scared by this FSU squad tomorrow?
Well, he boldly predicted 38-13. I've heard him say all week. That's his prediction for the score. I think you have to have a little unease if you're an Alabama fan of how Alabama just didn't show up on the road 3 times last year. They lost, of course, shockingly to Vanderbilt, and the Oklahoma loss was just inexplicable. They also lost at Tennessee. They mounted a little bit better effort, but Tennessee completely took over the game in the second half. So Kalen DeBoer is in his first year at Tuscaloosa, didn't dazzle anybody on the road. They clobbered Wisconsin, but Wisconsin is quickly descending into mediocrity, my favorite word all of a sudden, because I'm seeing it all over college football. But I think that in the back of the Tide Nation mind, it is kind of that mentality of, is DeBoer going to have this team ready to go every week? Certainly, Case has weighed in effectively there that from a talent level standpoint should be no contest. But the other thing that makes this game kind of mystical is who the hell knows what Florida State's going to look like. I mean, nobody could have envisioned what happened last year. Have the pieces they've gathered, are they going to blend and mesh better than that unit last year that was just a bunch of mercenaries who literally kind of quit in the middle of the season?
How important, and this brings up a great point, I don't mean to interrupt, but how important is a quarterback? How often have we seen Cam Newton do it? We saw it with Johnny Manziel do it. When you have that special quarterback that's like one in a time generation, like FSU had 2 years ago, they go 13-0, and everyone's like they're back, and they have just fallen on their faces. They lost that guy.
Yeah, that injury against North Alabama. Let's remember, Jordan Travis went down against North Alabama. I saw Missouri's quarterback get hurt. The Horn last night got hurt. I don't know how serious it is, against Central Arkansas. I mean, to lose your guys in the games against those kind of teams is like double jeopardy devastating.
But what a class act Drinkowitz was running the score up to 61 last night.
Yeah, that was
the douche that he is.
I am not a Coach Drink fan. The worst call we ever had on the morning after was a lady from Missouri last year saying Coach Drink is the new Nick Saban, which is one of the most ridiculous things ever. Coach Drink is, I think
even the new Trent Dilfer.
Oh boy, that's a shot. I was not impressed. A little bit of Missouri game I watched last night. That's the first of 6 consecutive home games they have to start the season, which I've never heard of before. I don't know if anybody's ever played 6 straight. They don't leave Columbia till October 18th. So I'm just not high on that team at all. We saw Bo. I've been calling Pribula. Excuse me, it's Pribula, apparently, because that's what the announcer kept calling him last night. I just wasn't impressed. I'm not a Missouri guy. I hate that they're in the SEC to start with. But anyway, back to Alabama. Castellanos talking a lot. This week, he said, when they asked him about the prospect of facing the Alabama defense, I don't think he helps his team by saying, well, I've been facing the best defense I'm going to see for the last 4 weeks in practice. So he's high on the Florida State defense, but take that for what you want. Alabama should win this game, but like a lot of people, it's in the back of my mind. Are they going to show up and play like everybody expects?
By the way, I know we're going to hammer on UAB as we should. They win by 10 last night against the FCS. Alabama State did something, another thing I've never seen. We talk about the defense, showing up that defense. FCS Alabama State squad was 13 of 15 in third down conversions last night. I've never seen it. I've never seen a 13 of 15. I've never even seen anything close. I haven't seen a 10 of 15. I've never seen a 13 of 15. So
was there even? I got to ask you guys a question.
We used to call it third and Chavis when Chavis was the defensive coordinator. Yeah. Third and Chavis.
I got to ask you guys a question. How is there even a line on that game? Is it some guy down on the corner that's selling fentanyl on the side, or who made that number?
There's lines on everything. There are extra games.
Where are they? Case, I know you couldn't have bet on that game in Las Vegas.
Yeah, you could have. I mean, they don't usually show up till the day of, but I mean, there's a ton of data on FCS now. Obviously, nothing like FBS, but yeah, just about every FCS game gets posted, just usually not to the last minute. So you probably
okay, because I all week I kept seeing NAs on all the games against these bogus single teams, and so I didn't know that there was actually a legitimate line. I figured somebody down on the corner made that.
Obviously, yeah, so it looks
I think a great play in that Alabama game, and I haven't seen the team total yet. Case, if you have, usually they come out the next day.
49.5 is the over-under. 49 is.
I know the over is 49.5, and if Alabama's a 14-point favorite, if Alabama's team total is anything less than 34, you know, I almost like that as much as I like Georgia Tech's team total over 27.5 tonight.
Well, if the line is 14, it's going to have to be a little lower than 34. So it'll probably be, 32, 16, something like that.
Yeah, a good key number, 31.5 will get you, because 31 is the number. So probably 31.5.
I'm seeing 30. I'm seeing 32 on one side. I'm seeing 31.5 on another. I'm seeing 32.5. So somewhere around that 32 number, if it's going to fall in 14. I love watching line moves, and again, the big news of the day, if you want to make it a headline news, breaking news here in K4Wins, that Texas-Ohio State line has just been unbelievable how it moved. All the money's coming on the Big Orange right now. What other lines have you seen, Case, so far as we get ready for the big full day of Saturday that have kind of surprised you and who went, ooh, wow, now it's time to jump on?
Well, just off the top of my head, the other big game, since we touched on Ohio State, Texas, I mean, Clemson LSU's probably had even more movement, but it's been so fascinating because it's just been ping-ponging back and forth. There's such, I guess we're a microcosm of everyone, as there's such strong opinions on both sides. We saw when a lot of the big services were releasing early this week, there's a torrent of money on LSU. Now here later in the week, limits have opened it up. Clemson's taking back money. So that one I think is going to be really balanced. And I think people have strong opinions on both sides. That's been an interesting mover. Another one kind of in that same vein, I know it's not till Sunday, but Miami, Notre Dame, really right around 3. I mean, it seems like, someone will buy on Miami, it'll go down. Someone will buy on Notre Dame, go back up. So those are probably the two of the biggest games we hadn't touched about yet today. And both of them, I feel like there's a lot more two-way action than Ohio State and Texas, and even Alabama, Florida State, where it seems like Alabama's the side everyone's betting.
Kai, your face is always in a computer. You're always in numbers. And I know you love team totals as well. What's kicking out? Before we do, we're going to do our picks. We'll do them towards the end of the show. We'll also get into some Major League Baseball here because it's still going on as well. There's still money to be made in all sports. But what kind of lines have been moving for you? I know you saw that Syracuse line moved down to 13.5. But what other lines have moved that kind of surprised you? And has anything kind of made you go, ooh, it's time to make a phone call?
Somebody knows something. Ole Miss dropped from 39 to 34, 34.5. Already over Georgia State. Hawaii and Arizona went from 13 to 18. Arizona went from 13 to 18. Goes right over that key 17 number in college football. Those two to me, have really jumped out. And then tonight, I'm really still struggling with this Georgia Tech Colorado game. I know we haven't really talked about that, but for that line really not to have moved much. But the total opened at 55. Now it's 51.5, because I've been leaning, like I said, towards that Georgia Tech team total over. So it makes me wonder if they're going to go over 27.5, then how that's going to go. Those lines have really done something to me. And then Case, if you would, I'm just kind of wondering. I haven't looked, and we can do it later. I don't want to get there, but it's just on my mind. Got to know if Green Bay's prices have moved after what I think is one of the dumbest trades in the history of the world by the Dallas Cowboys.
Welcome to the Jones family.
You threw it out there. We might as well go there. What's up with the Micah Parsons? And a lot of people have Green Bay perhaps even vying for a Super Bowl before they made that acquisition. Where are they at now?
Yeah, I'd love to tackle all those line moves first quickly. The college ones. I mean, the Arizona money is all because if you watch the Hawaii Stanford game last week, Micah Alejado, their quarterback, their everything, gets hurt, somehow stays in the game on a high ankle sprain, but can barely walk. Without him, I don't give them much chance in this game. They are saying he's practicing, but it's hard for me to believe on a high ankle. Really hobbling around. So all that money on that is all injury related. Georgia State Ole Miss is a fascinating one because this is really numbers versus narrative. I think Ole Miss steamed initially because Lane Kiffin is one of the number one guys, along with James Franklin, that seems like he knows the spread and just absolutely will not let off the gas until they're covering. So I think because of that, that got pushed up like an extra 5 or 6 points. But if you talk to people in the industry, no one had the numbers actually that high. No one thought they should win by 40. Georgia State does have some talent. And then I think you've seen more of the quant guys now with the limits opening up a little bit higher. I think they just look at the numbers and say there's no way Ole Miss should be this high of a favorite. So a lot of big bets have come on Georgia State. I don't really know what to do there spread wise. I did play some over 60 on that game. I think it's now like 61 and a half, 62. Because I think Georgia State has some decent pieces offensively. So I think they can score.
They did beat an SEC school a couple of years ago.
Yeah, and the Vanderbilt last year. Vanderbilt they beat two SEC.
They sure did.
Yeah, so yeah, that was that one. Was there one other college move you asked about, or just we want to get on to Micah Parsons? I can't remember.
No, you okay. Get on to Micah Parsons. Go ahead.
Yeah, so Green Bay did. I haven't looked at the game lines for Week 1 yet. Again, as I kind of wanted to go. I wanted to make my own numbers again without being swayed by how it's moved since the last time I did like a month ago. But I will say in the futures market, Green Bay did crash a ton. And I am usually the guy like poo-pooing trades, saying they're not that big of a deal and that the market's overreacting. Like Micah Parsons is one guy that I cannot say that about. I think this is a huge trade for the Packers. And I feel very uncomfortable as someone who kind of hitched my wagon to the Lions because I really liked all the Packers position groups. But if there's one area where you could say they were mediocre and even not even terrible, just like a little bit below average, it was their pass rush. And now they've got the best pass rusher in the NFL. So you saw, I think I saw that they were like 18-1, maybe at Circa to win the Super Bowl, now like 12-1. I think Detroit's still the favorite in the division, but just ever so slightly. All of Green Bay's futures numbers crash down, and I honestly think it's justified. I think Micah Parsons is on that rare list of defensive players that can really move the needle, and I think any hope I had for Dallas, I feel like is just gone now. I mean, this defense is going to be just dreadful. I have no idea what they're doing. I do think at least they got back. I was asked on a show a week ago if the Raiders were going to get involved, and the Raiders were one team that reached out to Micah Parsons. I said, what would you give up? I said, there's as good as he is, as much of the difference maker is, I would not give up 3 first-round picks, but I said I would give up 2 first-round picks and a promising young player. I guess the Cowboys didn't even really do that well in one respect because they did get Kenny Clark, who's a good player, but he's an older guy. He's 29. I want someone, if I'm going to a full-scale rebuild, I want like a second-year guy that was highly drafted. So it's close to fair compensation, but I don't know what Dallas is doing. Like a player as good as Micah Parsons is going to be a value on that contract. No matter what.
I don't see another Super Bowl for Jerry Jones at this point. I mean, I know a lot of people don't like him, and I know that, but he's had success in the past. But I totally don't get this. And Micah Parsons is one of those guys, like you just mentioned. He's one of those guys who you'll actually change your focus and what you do on defense just because of him. Usually you add a guy, this is what our playbook looks like, we're going to put you here. I mean, you'll go in there and all of a sudden you can start changing things around, moving plays around just for him, which says a lot. The Dallas Cowboys, of course, open up the NFL season at Philadelphia, 7:20 going on next Thursday. And, of course, we're going to be all over the NFL every single Tuesday and Friday right here at 10 o'clock Central Time on the wonderful Tony Kurre Radio Network and, of course, the Coastal Digital Sports Network, as well as our YouTube channel, which we're live on right now. Let's go around the horn. I'm going to start with Kip. We're going to give out our plays because we want to have plays. And, of course, you go to K4Wins.com to get everything. If you miss anything, go to K4Wins.com. You can even check it out multiple times during the day because we'll come up with some early games. Kai is our poster, so I'm assuming that we're not posting everything right off the bat for the 11 o'clock games. We're kind of posting things throughout the day. Is that how it's going to post, Kai?
You know, sometimes in the mornings, especially when y'all send something and it's a 6 o'clock game, I'll go ahead and post it. We do put on there that we have updates, so we'll update before the 2:30 games. We'll update before the 6:30 games, just depending. And last night, just for the record, our losses were baseball, and there were baseball totals. And then Milwaukee shit in the bed the way they did last night as well. College football, we did just fine. And we again, the same thing, guys. It goes. So if just to let you guys know, if you're a subscriber, if you look at the website, if 3 of us like Texas and 1 of us likes Ohio State, we don't post it. It's got to be a consensus. Now, if Tony picks UAB out of his butt for a game and nobody else has that game, then that can be posted as well. It's just if there's
then your head's up Trent Dilfer's ass, just like mine was. I was kissing it big time too. Make sure you get it. I think it's interesting. I love these because we're not a service. Okay, we're not a service. We're handicappers and we're investors and we're trying to make some money for some people. K4Wins.com. I love when people are just like hi ho on Major League Baseball over and over and over and over again, and then college football season starts and they act like Major League Baseball is not even a sport anymore. Well, there's no value in Major League Baseball anymore because now we're going to set all of our stuff.
Oh yeah.
Still there. There's still lots of value to make. We're still posting baseball games. We've made a ton of money making Major League Baseball this year, so we're going to continue to do that. If you're one of those people that says I'm just doing it to kind of fart around, maybe build my payroll up or bankroll a little bit, that's fine. But we're still going to post our greatest plays for Major League Baseball, and we don't post things that are like -2 and 300s either. So, but Kip, I want you to go around. First of all, I know you got something you want to say, but then I want to hear your strongest plays for the weekend.
Well, easiest game of the year in baseball last night was the over in the Braves-Phillies game. That was over in the 3rd inning. It was 9.5, and they scored 24 runs. So I was all over that one. Cal Quantrill pitching for about his 6th different team. The Braves are literally hiring guys off the street. The Phillies had just lost 3 in a row to the Mets. I knew that was going to be an absolute, and it was Nola's return, and he was getting lit up before he got hurt.
He's falling off
so,
big time.
Yeah, so I mean that was the easiest baseball prediction of the year, over 9.5 in that game, which the Phillies had 9 in the 3rd inning. So, and the Braves got 3 against Nola in the 1st and should have had 6. So it was that was an easy game. So all these there's one pundit in particular that we kind of keep an eye on, who always has an excuse about subpar performance. God. Now he's thrown up his hands and says baseball's totally unpredictable this time of year. I'm not even going to mention baseball unless there's no football whatsoever being played. So he's full of you know what. Anyway, for the weekend, I agree with Kai on his team, ironically. I think Syracuse is being very underappreciated. Fran Brown, a former Kirby Smart assistant, won 10 games there last year, knocked Miami out of the playoffs on the last day of the season. I don't know how good they're going to be, but I mean, getting double digits and that line starting to adjust back down. And I think Tennessee has a lot of questions to answer. This year, Nico isn't running out of the tunnel. The great running back they had. What was your running back? I have a senior moment here. Yeah, so good last year. I think he was 80% of the offense. He's not coming out of the tunnel. You're going to have Joey Aguilar, who led the country in interceptions at Appalachian State. I think the competition's going to be a little higher this year. Aguilar's a gunslinger, and maybe he's going to work out great in the Heupel offense. But they've got a lot to show us. And I like taking points, as you guys probably have realized. I like getting points anyway, and I really like getting points in opening weekend. So my 3 biggest plays that I'm going to give out on the starting lineup this week are all based on SEC pretty much, but they're all involving points. I like Syracuse to keep that game close on a neutral field in Atlanta. I think it's gone below 14. I would have been happier with 14 or 14.5, which is the line earlier in the week, but I still think Syracuse covers that spread. I also like, and I'm consistent. You guys might not agree with me, but I'm consistent. I have been a Kentucky detractor for a long time. I think Mark Stoops is a bumbling fool. They are a 9.5-point favorite against Toledo. The MAC got off to a good start last night. I'm sure they covered every one of those games against Big Ten opponents. Toledo's getting 9.5 against Kentucky. I don't think Kentucky needs to give anybody 9.5, particularly Toledo, who I think is the co-favorite to win the MAC this year. And I know they got top 25 votes in the AP poll. I like Toledo to keep that game close and maybe even beat Kentucky and Lexington. And my best bet of the week, wrap it up, put it on a pedestal, take it up to the top of the highest mountain and shout to the heavens. I love Southern Mississippi to beat Mississippi State outright, and they're getting 12.5 points. That line started the week 15.5, and it's dropped 3 points because people know what I know, that this is not Southern Mississippi running on the field. This is the champion Marshall team from the Sun Belt Conference last year. Southern Mississippi finished 7th in that conference. It is the head coach Charles Huff and 42, count them, 42 transfers from his championship team in that league last year are going to be the Golden Eagles. So they're playing Marshall. They're not playing Southern Miss. And inexplicably, the game is in Hattiesburg. What the hell is Mississippi State opening against Southern Miss on the road? That's just lunacy. If this transition hadn't even taken place against the 7th place Southern Miss team from last year, I wouldn't give 14 points. And now it's 12.5. I wouldn't take Mississippi State as a road favorite against almost anybody in the country. I still think I like Jeff Lebby. I think there's a lot to be done there. Chapin was okay as a quarterback before he got hurt. But I think Southern Miss wins this game outright because, as you guys remember, they had qualified for a bowl game and Marshall had to cancel their appearance because Huff took the entire team with him. And not only that, Marshall goes to Georgia now, completely starting over with their new coach, the defensive coordinator from North Carolina State, Gibson. Georgia's a 38-point favorite. I'm not going to give 38 points on opening day, but that game could be a real bloodbath too because Marshall is absolutely starting from scratch. Their entire roster, 57 players off that team gone from last year. So Southern Miss, best bet of the day, plus the 12.5.
Case, what's it pay if I take 12.5 straight up?
Well, money is pouring in the other way. It's funny, as Kip was talking, we got some 14.5s now. So I guess Kip could have Southern Miss plus 14.5. I'm on Mississippi State in this game, but at 10.5. I wouldn't lay 14.5. I get the whole Marshall thing, but man, the market just went crazy with Southern Miss. I still think this team has some questions, and I kind of like Mississippi State's personnel when healthy. I think Chapin's really promising. There's been really good reports out of their training camp. I feel like they're going to be buttoned up. I would not lay the 14.5, but I did take Mississippi State minus 10.5. And yes, Circa just went to 14.5 on the game. Literally, as Kip was speaking, I called up the game, and just the board is lighting up. People are betting Mississippi State.
Wow. Well, I'll be happy if they win by 10. Let's middle
it. We got a 4-point middle now. I definitely give you Southern Miss plus 14.5.
Plenty of points in the middle there. Kai, you mentioned you never buy the half to push. Do you ever buy the half to win? Would you do that in the Tennessee game? If you're going to take Syracuse, you buy it up to 14.5?
Absolutely. But I say that, they say that just like NFL, never play a 4-point game, whatever. Yeah. If you're not willing to buy that half point to 14, if that's something you think, and they win by 14, you don't get the push, so you lost. So you're not really, but you're paying, not to lose.
All right, give me your plays, Kai. You look around the horn. We have plenty of time. Week 1 is underway. I cannot believe that we're less than about 12 hours away from kickoff, 11 o'clock tomorrow morning. Give me 2 or 3 of your best plays for the weekend.
I like so many plays this weekend, but I'm going to start with one that is a game nobody's looking at. Sam Houston State and UNLV, I think, goes over the total tonight. I think it's sitting at 61 now, 60.5 or 61. I think Sam Houston State, I loved them at 9.5, 10.5 against UNLV until UNLV shit the bed last week and did not play well, beating Idaho State. Now, I probably don't know that I would take the 9.5, but I would take the over in that game. I think UNLV's defense is not great, but they have some skill on the offensive side of the ball. So I think that game.
Sam went over in their first game too, right? We posted that. We actually had that game.
Way over. Yeah, was it like 40 something to 30 something? I really like that. And I kind of like UNLV and Sam Houston State both over their team total, but UNLV's at 35.5 right now, and Sam Houston State's at 24.5. I don't know if I'd lay that, but I do like the over in that game. Auburn. I think Auburn wins tonight, and I think they win pretty easily. And then I'll go I'm not going to go with the others, but I'm going to go with Notre Dame on the money line Sunday night. And I will tell you this, I throw out another one, and if you can get the money line under 50 cents, TCU all day long and twice on Monday.
Yeah, that's you just nailed two of mine. There's no doubt. I'm actually going to take Miami. I'm going to take the other side on that. I'm going to take them plus 2.5. I was going to buy it up to 3. It's the Carson Beck versus CJ Carr show. I still think there's a lot of gas left in the Beck tank. We're not going to go from this guy saying potential Heisman Trophy guy a couple of years ago, and all of a sudden he's a lousy quarterback. I do think he's a good fit there. I do think it's a game of two of the best offensive lines we're going to see in college football. It's going to be like a 1960s game, man. It's going to be fantastic. There's going to be a lot of running both ways. And if I see a line at 3, I'll take Miami all day plus those 3 points. Great line play. Should be a lot of fun to watch. I'm loving TCU as well. I mentioned during the starting lineup, North Carolina last season, 1-3, lost 4, 1-3, lost 3. They go back and forth, back and forth. They're going to lose another one. They only have 6 guys coming back from both sides of the ball for North Carolina. You're talking about a TCU squad that had 9 guys come back from last year's team, or actually 9 wins coming back from last year, and 12 guys coming back on offense and defense. I'm going to take TCU minus that 3.5. I don't even care about the hook. And then I'm going to go with my South Carolina Gamecocks. Much like you with Boise State, I'm going to give up 7 in the hook. Kyron Drones, the quarterback for Va Tech, is supposed to be this new guy. He's a 4-star guy. They had to replace every offensive lineman for Va Tech. It's not going to be fun to watch. It's going to be ugly. They're going to be you got a South Carolina defense going against Va Tech. They're going to be all over his ass all night long. Lenore Sellers, I know a lot of people are high on it. He has only played 5 games. I'm not saying he's a Heisman Trophy guy, but at least we've seen him throw the football, 18 touchdowns, 7 picks last year. And do you know who the OC is for South Carolina? I totally forgot about this.
It's Mike Shula.
It is Mike Shula. Yes, Mike Shula, the guy who started out 10-0 at Alabama, and people were calling for his ass. Fire him. Mike Shula was 10-0 because he just didn't have that look. He had that deer in the headlights look. He's always been an assistant OC, just a madhouse, great guy, fantastic. He's been all over the place, but he is the new OC for 2025. Especially, he was 4th with South Carolina last year, but now he's got the entire job. So I think, I put a lot of trust in him. He has made a really nice living being an OC his entire life. He knows exactly what he can get after. So I'm going to take South Carolina minus the 7.5, big time, Lenore Sellers and guys. Miami plus 2.5, TC minus 3.5, and South Carolina minus 7.5. And now we go to the man who is right down the street from the Strip. Case Kiefer, what you got for the big slate tomorrow, tonight, and Sunday and Monday?
I guess let's start with tonight since we haven't given much love to all these other games. I know they're not the best. I actually, usually I don't make this mistake till like week 4 or week 5. So shows that I guess not that sharp, but I've already now bet a game twice that I didn't realize I did. So I've already got committed. I guess I was giving out. And it is a real doozy, let me tell you. Appalachian State and Charlotte playing tonight at a neutral site. I like the under. I bet under 50.5. Forgot that I did, and then I bet under 50 again. So now I'm riding.
Wow. Where are they playing? Case in a Target parking lot?
Yeah, really.
So this game, I think there's still some 50s out there. So I have 50 somewhat important. I would go with the under 50. That's one bet I'm on tonight. My biggest bet tonight, actually, and this has gone too, but I think, you could there's still some 14s. I kind of have a different philosophy than you guys on buying points. I would never buy points. I just think mathematically in the long term, it's a losing proposition. To me, if I miss a number, I totally agree with, not wanting to lay 13.5 or 6.5, whatever that is. If it's me and I really think long-term, this is the way to do it. Mathematically, it's going to save you money. You either wait to see if it gets back on 7 or you just say, well, that sucks and pass. Okay. But so Tarleton State tonight against Army. Army lost everyone off that AAC championship game last year. I know it was a great story. Everyone loves them, but I think we saw this with Air Force 2 years ago. It's rare when these when the service academies really have to rebuild totally with a new slate of players. Like they usually get off to rough starts. Tarleton, meanwhile, just absolutely pasted someone last week. They look like they might be like FCS, like Final 8 material. So I took 14.5 with Tarleton tonight. Still some 14s. I would not go lower than 14. I want those 2 touchdowns. It could be a little bit low scoring, so that's important. Just since Kai mentioned this game, UNLV, Sam Houston. I could understand loving Sam Houston before week 1. That number was 13.5. It's now gone down 4 points. I always kind of like playing against these huge moves that teams play terrible against FCS opponents.
Yeah.
I feel like sometimes we go too crazy. Also, I don't think people realize this game is not at Sam Houston's home stadium. It's about, I think, 45 minutes away. I think it's where the Houston MLS team plays. So it's kind of a semi-neutral. I do downgrade their home field just a little bit for that. So I ended up laying at UNLV minus 9.5 just on the basis of a week ago. I think UNLV minus 9.5 would have looked like a crazy number. So I give them a little bit of a pass for week 1. It's always an inexact science, a team playing their second game. Maybe that's really who they were, and I get embarrassed tonight. But I just think this number would have made no sense a week ago. So it's not like Sam Houston looked like world beaters and getting crushed by Western Kentucky, which I guess makes a nice segue into one of my next plays. Western Kentucky, it's not quite to the extent of Marshall to Southern Miss, but Western Kentucky last year has a great breakout year with Zach Kitley, the hot shot. I think he's like 33, young offensive coordinator coming over from Texas Tech, where he had already kind of transformed Texas Tech's offense. I think Florida Atlantic finally made a good hire instead of just getting these big name guys that had kind of cycled through post Lane Kiffin. I think Lane was the only one that worked. I really like the hire of Zach Kitley, and he brings his quarterback from Western Kentucky, Caden Veltenkamp, with him. They're going up against like a Maryland team that I always like to bet against. It's completely rebuilding this year. I think they might be like last in the Big Ten.
And you can't stand Loxley.
Yeah, I think they might be last in the Big Ten in returning production too. So I bet Florida Atlantic plus 16. I think that's a little lower now, but again, I think the 14 is the key. If you can get 14 or better there, I like that. I'm scrolling through to see what else I have. I don't love this one, but just since we talked about the team, I heard a stat and I made this bet largely on just my memory because I feel like he never does. But I heard a stat this week that Kirby Smart's 0-13 against the spread when he's a 38-point favorite or higher. It seems like he doesn't care. He just works on things. So I actually bet some Marshall plus 41. Not a big bet or anything, but I feel like they might go.
Well, it's come down quite a bit. Yeah, that's great.
And not care at all. So that not one of the bigger bets there, but I did have Marshall since that came up. I'd say that. Looking for some bigger stuff. Obviously, we talked about the Miami game. I agree with you on that. I'm on Miami, but don't feel super confident. One more. I took Coastal Carolina plus 12.5 at Virginia. Virginia had a really good offseason, brought in really good transfer portal haul, but just everyone got hurt in training camp. It seems like they're going to be a real mash unit here. Coastal Carolina at least has some power conference skill level on the offense. I'm worried about them defensively, but I think maybe they stick with Virginia. So I'll throw out Coastal Carolina plus 12.5 is the final one.
For consensus, go to K4Wins.com, K4Wins.com. Major League Baseball right now, Toronto, Detroit, Houston, the Phillies, Brewers, Dodgers lead their divisions. It's the Red Sox, Yankees, the Mariners, the Cubs, the Pods, the Mets. They're all winning the wild card. And it looks like now with less than 20 games left, Kai, that's probably going to be it. I don't see my Reds. They're now 4 games out. They've lost. They're on a skid. In the American League, there's a 3-game difference. I mean, if you're going to do it now, now's the time to make the move with less than 20 games left. I'm going to give you the call right now. Are the 6 teams coming from both sides? Is that what's going to be in our playoffs?
Seattle might catch up and take Houston there. I don't really love the way that.
The Mariners are already in. I mean, the Mariners are already in the wild card. So I'm just
talking about winning the division. But Seattle's only won 4 of their last 6. I don't think anybody's catching up in the East. Nobody's catching Milwaukee. 4 teams have 7-3 records their last 10. That's it, and only 5 teams now have winning records on the road, which is pretty amazing. The dog days of summer are giving way, to I guess fall, even though it does kind of feel like fall in Alabama. But baseball is very strange. The pitching changes that have been happening a lot recently, an hour before game time also, and how many teams are going with the bullpen games a lot, especially the teams that know they're making the playoffs. Milwaukee,
trying to preserve the starters. They
are watching pitch counts big time, and people don't understand how much that affects it because they're also watching pitch counts in the bullpens. Seeing that, I mean, Boston yesterday not bringing in Aroldis Chapman, and Mays almost gave it up. Just seeing things like that. But I do want to say one thing. And another thing that's in TCU's favor is the fact that Bill Belichick maybe have to coddle his 24-year-old now pregnant girlfriend.
Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh!
Is she really pregnant?
Yes.
No.
Oh, well, that story just keeps getting better. The man that preaches no distractions.
Is it his, or do we use a turkey baster?
They said it's his. I mean, can you imagine becoming a dad at 75?
With her, yes, I can. Actually, I could see that happening. Living with her 15 years, tapping that for 15 more years. If I could live to be 90 and just let her take care of the kids, sure.
No, thanks.
Yeah. Well, the one thing is, they're not going to have any problems with money buying baby clothes. That's for sure. No. Any other interesting baseball stats? You guys got anything else you want to mention in Major League Baseball? I love this time of the year. I love October. And I think it's great. And I love when we have the series, because I love playing series calls and series plays in the playoffs. The fact that we've added a wild card, I think, was just a generally wonderful idea. The more people that are invited to certainly join the dance, the better. But any other baseball? I know from an Atlanta standpoint, Kip, you're just ready for the season to end.
Oh God, I was ready. I was ready on Memorial Day.
Yeah. There are only 12 games under 500. I say only 12. You might as well be 50, because I mean, this is a team that obviously you'd think the record would be flipped. They'd be 73-61, not 61-73. They're a lousy baseball team. That's for sure. But
well, and they've had just unbelievably devastating pitching injuries. Yeah. So that's one excuse. But they're just the worst team at executing with runners on base. They won't give themselves up. They won't move runners. They try to hit a 3-run homer no matter what the situation is. Chipper Jones even came out and lashed out, and he's still employed by the club as a hitting instructor. He threw up his hands recently and said, this team doesn't play to win games. They're playing for stats. So, I mean, there's even a lot of controversy in the ranks of the organization, just fed up with certain guys that are taking the wrong approach. They've scored a lot of runs here lately. That's another reason that was a lock last night. That game is going to go over. So but that's really keyed by the complete revival of Michael Harris, the Rookie of the Year a couple years ago, who was abysmal in the first half, made a slight adjustment with his hands, and he has just knocked the cover off the baseball in the second half. So there are some hopeful signs, but when you lose the 5-man rotation on opening day has not been available since it began. They did get Spencer Strider back after a brief period, but he's really kind of struggling, trying to figure out a way to pitch with the lack of velocity. He's dropped about 5 miles an hour from when he was a phenom before. So things are bad there. Maybe this is a 1-year aberration. Maybe they'll make a few changes and retool. They lost Profar for half the season because of his drug suspension. Everything has just gone wrong. It's just been a downhill snowball of disaster for the Braves all season. So God, I'm ready to get. I can't look away. I always turn it on and watch for a few innings, but good grief, that lifelong habit has been miserable this year.
All right, Kai, useless Tony Curry stuff they usually throw out there. 3 teams with losing records that are plus in run differential. Who are they?
I didn't even look this week, or today. I kind of started looking at it. I mean, I know Arizona's one.
Arizona's one.
Arizona, Tampa Bay, and
Tampa Bay is one, and out west.
Shit, is it San Francisco?
It is San Francisco. Very good.
Yeah,
I will tell you this. Don't forget, anybody watching, don't forget futures. It's my biggest place. Tennessee under, Alabama over college football.
Yeah, and you still got time to do that. So make sure you get, as a matter of fact, after the show, I'm going to make a couple phone calls, and I'm going to sit back about 2 hours and put all my future stuff in here. And it's the first time I've actually going to be playing a bunch. Usually I play like 1 or 2, something like, with Clemson or something, just because my son is playing it. I'm having a hard time pulling the trigger, by the way, on that over Clemson game, just because, what is it, 252 or 242 or some shit? I mean, it's crazy.
Wow.
Huh?
Buy it up to 10 and take it.
I mean, if they lose the first game, I'm almost feeling like my back's up against the wall. I know they're a 4-point favorite, but and they should win this game. I mean, I firmly believe I'm not going to play it just because I don't want to jinx it. But I think that I think it should be a good win, but that Brian Kelly can pull something out of his ass and screw me over again like he always does.
Yeah. Are we avoiding the LSU Clemson situation because we have differences of opinion?
No, there's no doubt. I mean, there's no doubt. I mean, I'm all over Clemson for a lot of different reasons. And listen, we'll watch the game tomorrow on ABC 3340, one of the 3 great games after our television show, and then we can have a show on Tuesday. I'm just sorry that we have to wait till Tuesday before I can stick back up your ass. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, well. We shall see. I mean, you're awfully optimistic of a team that only Cade Klubnik faced 2 good defenses last year, and he got absolutely destroyed in both those games. Georgia and Texas just made Clemson look like amateur hour last year. That was the only 2 legitimate teams they played. I mean, I'm not going to be shocked if Clemson's really good, but I just don't understand all the hype on Clemson, a team that lost 4 games and were blown out in the 2 games against legitimate national championship contenders.
That was last year. It was last year. It was
the same team.
Alabama lost to Vanderbilt last year. Alabama lost to fucking Vanderbilt, and they're saying
I'm not counting Alabama either. But Tony, you're saying you like Clemson because they got 80% of their offensive production back off a mediocre team.
Hold on.
A mediocre team. In their last 6 games, they were fantastic. Did you not see that? I bought the stock when it was low, baby. I'm the Dabo man. Dabo said, baby, if you're buying stock in this team, buy it now, and I did, and I'm reaping rewards here, my friend.
I just had one question. Kip, is that your way of telling us you think LSU is a legit contender this year? Because you said against legit competition, Clemson lost.
Well, that's true, but I think LSU has the personnel to be legit. The first week is difficult for all of us because, we all talk like we know what we're talking about. We haven't seen these teams. We have no idea what we're talking about.
Exactly. So let's play the game, and we'll talk again on Tuesday.
All right.
You're also getting 4.5. You don't necessarily have to be legit. It's not like they're a dog in the game.
That's a good call. Take it, you Catholics. Go ahead and take it and run with it. Just go and do your thing. That's fine.
Hey.
Well, I'm with you on Miami, Tony. So we're on the same team there.
Well, I'm not Catholic, but Catholics are beating the convicts.
I like Miami to win that game. Notre Dame never performs well down there historically, and Miami personnel wise is loaded if they can get out of their own way.
And our thoughts and prayers certainly go out with the Catholic nation.
And Case is being very quiet on this.
No, I think
he's on his knees next to a statue.
No, I think the Clemson stuff is funny. I'm anti-Clemson and pro LSU. I'd say I'm the highest person on LSU here, so we'll see. Miami and Notre Dame, I really love both teams personnel-wise. I just I don't know. I like the spot for Miami, but if Notre Dame has a quarterback, I think Notre Dame's ceiling is national championship this year. And I know we
gotta go. I'm going over my mileage here. Thanks to Coastal Sports Network, Digital Network. Angel's down there smiling, saying, "Hurry up, guys! Come on, you've already got your hour." Man, I cannot wait to get into it with you 3 guys throughout the entire football season. It's going to be a hell of a lot of fun. Go to K4Wins.com, K4Wins.com. I love you guys. Thank you so much for your time.
Thanks, Tony. Thanks, everybody.